And just we greatly appreciate you coming on, and I just kind of want to end with a frontline perspective. We've been asking this to people like J. Warner Wallace and Lydia McGrew. Where do you see the future of Christian apologetics going? And that could be within your own ministry or just in general.
Well, I think it's blossoming magnificently and has been for the last 20 years. And it's I don't know if I can put my finger on one particular reason apart from the sovereign movement of God. But I think one reason is because as the pressure and resistance from the world heats up, there's more resistance against Christianity, which means more resistance against Christians. And then Christians are realizing, man, I don't have the goods. How do I deal with these issues? Mm-hmm. I think also, and William Lane Craig has made this observation, that for the last 20 or 30 years, significant strides have been made in the area of philosophy of religion, with evangelical Christians really shining there. And there's a trickle-down effect. So at Stand to Reason, we're kind of, we consider ourselves kind of translators. So we'll read the Bill Craigs and the J.P. Morelands, and Doug Geivitz and people like that, and then we'll do our best to translate that into language that is accessible to the rank and file. It's not the cookies on the lowest shelf, because some of those cookies can't go down to the bottom shelf. But what we can get them down there, if they reach up a little bit, they can get them. And so I think the progress that's been made in the area of philosophy and the world of ideas that has a trickle-down effect to be into practical application in Christian apologetics. I think the increasing hostility that's coming from the culture is a factor, and I do think that there are the growth of so many organizations that are focusing in on this and making provision for this. There are a lot of programs now that at Biola there's an apologetics masters, at HBU there's a master's, SES has a master's, and I mean there are more and more. Colorado Christian, I think, has a program, and Lee Strobel's involved with. So more and more writers, more and more individuals with organizations, more and more universities are making this information accessible. And then with the explosion of the internet, and even ironically with the last 6 months of everybody having to pivot with the political consequences of COVID, look, here we are. I never used to. I got a camera, man. I got a camera hanging right here. I bought it, a low guy or whatever, and I got a microphone, I never had that kind of stuff. But this now gives me an access that I never had before. And this is, in a sense, fortuitously propelled us into a higher level of productivity using digital media and the like. So there are all kinds of things that are converging. There's a massive number of Christians who have no clue. But I think that more will be getting a clue as we get more visibility and more teams like what you're doing, Patrick and Tony. And, there are lots and lots of YouTubers now that are doing fabulous work and are gathering a following. And the more we all work together, like we're doing right now, and the way we encourage each other and, keep our head about ourselves and not believe our own press, but just go out and serve and do good work and have a good attitude, I think the better suited the body of Christ will be to engage the increasingly hostile issues that we're facing. And I'll just say, critical theory has just come out like a gangbuster in the last 6 months, and probably a lot of people don't even know what critical theory is. Mm-hmm. But the students have been weaned on that for the last 10 years at every university in the country, and now more and more at Christian universities. Yeah. It's tragic. But it's a competing worldview that has certain appeal for Christians because Christians care about oppression and they care about racism, and they because of their moral virtue, but they don't realize that this is a Trojan horse that is dragging them into a false worldview. Yeah. And so now we got you, me, our teams, we got a whole new area to develop and teach and train and to pass on to the body so they're not taken down by this. So there's always always something going on, you know.
Yeah, well said. Thank you.
Yeah, and I say it for every single time that I meet heroes of the faith like yourself. Is we just started this podcast because that's what we were already doing every other Saturday over coffee, and so we were like, oh, let's film it. And now we get to meet the authors that we read, and that's amazing. So I appreciate you getting the camera and the microphone and coming on and taking this hour to talk with us.
Yeah. Well, I don't have to take 3 days to fly somewhere and do a presentation. I'm just right here. I got my pajama bottoms on, truth be told. So, and I'm in my
pajama industry grew.
Yeah. Well, see, Zoom. We're using Zoom, and Zoom you can put those backgrounds in it. So I chose the messy office background. For mine.
Atheists called this our jail cell. So we're boring.
That's right. Yeah, nothing fancy there. So.
So Stand to Reason, str.org. Where else can people interact with your content? YouTube and.
Well, yeah, we have a great team that manages all of our social media stuff. And to be honest with you, I can't keep up with all that. I just don't even know what it's called, right? So I know this is Zoom, all right. That's not exactly social media. It's a tool for what we're doing. But we have all that stuff, YouTube and Pinterest and Pokemon and Hula Boola or whatever comes out next, But you can, if you go to our website, str.org, and then scroll down to the bottom of the homepage, I think all the links to all of our things are there. We have a God blog, for example, where we weigh in on a regular basis with things. We have what we call a kind of a newsletter. It's called Solid Ground, but it's a misleading title because you're not going to find pictures of our staff at bake sales or something like that. You're going to get a hard-hitting article. It comes out every other month. And then alternating months, we have a mentoring letter. Now, I author those most of the times, and it's my way of mentoring those who are part of our larger constituency. Now, you can get that online on our website, but if you sign up for it, it'll be sent to you virtual, and that's the easiest way to get it. Or you can get our app. So on your phone, looking for my phone, I don't actually use the app, so I don't know how to use the app, but I know we got apps, and we have 2 different apps, and they've just been updated, and it's very, very easy to navigate through the standard things that we offer on a regular basis to keep your listeners equipped with the newest stuff. Probably in January, the Solid Ground, I'll probably do a short series, maybe 2 or 3 Solid Grounds through the middle of the year on critical theory, just to bring people up to speed so they can figure out what the heck is going on here and how am I supposed to respond to this as a Christian. So, people are getting much more pressure from their environment, from the social institutions. They're being forced at their work to read books that are inconsistent with their worldview. And if they don't read it, they maybe lose their job or get a lot of hostile pressure.
Inconsistent with common sense, but anyway.
Yes, of course.
We'll have to go there.
That's right. Yeah. No, but first out though, Tony, out of the gate, and especially when you have some really ugly things that happen that a lot of press is being given to, I can see how it strokes the sympathies of people of good and virtuous character. And but what's being fed to them is poison, as you know. And this is what we have to help our people with. Just another thing to deal with.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, if you've joined us over these past few weeks, the book has been Tactics, a game plan for discussing your Christian convictions. Thank you, Greg Koukl, for discussing your Christian convictions with us. And I hope we can call on you again when we do.
Of course. It's a real treat. And that book, by the way, if you're getting one, see that little red thing in the middle? That's the 10-year anniversary edition. That's the one you want to get. And then there's also the story of reality, how the world began, how it ends, and everything important that happens.
I always appreciate when the authors themselves read the audiobook. So if you go to Audible, and we'll include the links below.
I did do that.
Yeah. In fact, you did what I always extol authors to do, is put the footnotes at the bottom. And you actually read the footnotes in the audiobook. I was reading along with your book because I bought it for the show. And I was like, oh, he's reading the details. That's what I love. That's awesome.
Yeah, I did. In most cases, I did. Right.
So thank you again for coming on, and we greatly appreciate you and your work.
Gentlemen, it's a pleasure, and please keep up the good work. I'm glad to see you on board. I'm glad to see what you're doing, and we need every hand on deck right now.
That's right.
Yeah, you're awesome. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for joining us today.